it's me, Daisha Shakila, and today I'm going to give you guys the truth about real estate, what they don't want you to know, what I wish someone would have told me when I first got licensed. Now, a lot of people don't know, but I am a real estate agent licensed in the state of North Carolina. I was licensed in 2016. And I started it because I saw, $1 Million Listing. I saw all of the other shows on HGTV, the Property Brothers, and everybody just made it look so glorious, so fun. And I'm like, yes, I want in on it. And I have always loved home decor. I even started a home decor business that I'm not going to name, but I started one. And I was really all for the journey. Like, nobody could tell me anything. I was like, I'm doing it today. So I went online and I started researching real estate schools. I found one in my area, and I'm from a small town in North Carolina. So this was a feat. There's not a lot of options to choose from, but I did find one that was an affordable price, that wasn't BS, and they had a good pass rate. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to real estate school. And my family was like, oh, okay, another one of Daisha's things. Because I've been known to start and stop and do different things. Like, I hold a lot of different licenses. So my family, sometimes they tend to not take it a little bit too serious. But anyway, I'm going to give you guys the truth, what I learned, what I experienced, and let's get started. All right, the first thing I want you guys to know is that it is tough for a new real estate agent to get started. One, a lot of people don't want to work with the newbie. Like, it's kind of like going into surgery. Who do you want? The doctor that just got his medical license, or the doctor that has done 100 surgeries? Like, he's seen it all. Who do you want? The newbie or the expert? Most people want the expert. And when they ask you, how long have you been licensed? You have to be honest. You have to tell the truth. And once they hear that, and then also one thing I want to say, a lot of people, they will ask me, how many properties have you sold? And I'm like, none, and I didn't own my personal property either. So if they ask me, what property do you own, or who have you helped? My answer was nothing. I'm just getting started. I try to be as honest and forthcoming as possible, but when you do that, oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot of people do not want to work with you. When you're starting off, most of your business is going to have to come from family or friends, because a lot of people, they have who they love. Like, they have a family real estate agent, like, oh, my mom used Susie, so I'm going to use Susie. So they already have an idea of someone that they know, someone that their friend suggested to them, like somebody that has been doing this for longer than you have. So my advice to people just getting into real estate is to start writing down family and friends that own property. Make a list of family and friends that are looking to buy property. Start letting them know early, before you even go to real estate school. Start letting them know that, hey, I'm getting into real estate. I want to help you. Could you wait for me? Some people, that's family. You can have those conversations with family. Friends, yeah. Also, let me tell you guys, I had a cousin, and my cousin promised that he would let me, be his agent and help him get his first home. And next thing I know, I'm on Facebook, and he's like, hey, just got my new house. And everybody's like, congratulations. And I'm like, I almost cried because I couldn't believe it. So that's another thing. A lot of people will say, yeah, I'm going to work with you, and they won't. The second thing I want you guys to know, there are a lot of fees. Like, you pay so much money. In the state of North Carolina, you have to buy your book for the class. That's like a $200, $300 book. And then on top of that, you have to pay for the initial licensing course, which is like $400, $500, $600 depending on where you go to school at. You also, once you complete the class and your instructor gives you their certificate to take the state exam, you have to pay for that state exam. And also, a lot of people do not pass the state exam on their first time, so a lot of people end up having to pay a second time to take the state exam. I will admit I took it twice, but I was so happy when I passed it the second time. A lot of people, they've taken it 3 times or more. It's just about how much you really want it, and as I said, I really wanted it. Let's say you passed the state exam, so you're happy. You have invested money for the class, the book, the state exam, and now you have to pay your realtor dues. Like, you have state dues, you have city dues. And when I tell you, you guys have to pay dues, I don't mean 500, I mean 2,000, 2,500. I mean, it gets pricey. And then on top of that, after you pay your dues, a lot of states, they will not let you practice real estate when you first get licensed without someone overseeing you, a broker in charge. So in order to have someone overseeing you, you have to be a part of a real estate company. That's where you have your Fonville Morrissey, that's where you have your Berkshire Hathaway. So you join, these companies so that you can have, like, there's mainly a broker in charge who's in charge of that firm that you're going to work at. You need that because you start off as a provisional broker. You're not just like, bam, I'm a full-blown real estate agent. No, no, no. So again, after the realtor's dues, you then have to get a state license or a city license to do business, because you are considered an independent contractor. Yes, a lot of people don't realize that real estate agents, you don't just go to work and get paid. No, if you are not buying something for someone, if you're not selling something for someone, you are not getting paid. There's no guaranteed paycheck, and I will get more into that. But let me say also, you have to take more classes. So in your first few years, a lot of people like to knock it out that first year after you get your main license. You have to take 3 more courses to become a full-blown broker. So that first licensing course, that's like a baby step. You have to take 3 more courses, and mind you, these 3 more courses, they're like $300 a pop. Now, if you're with me, you've already paid for the original class, $300, $400. You've already paid for the exam. You've already paid for your textbook. You've already paid for your realtor dues, which are in the 2000s. And now you have to pay for more classes. Oh, and every year you have to take like a refresher course. And guess who's paying for it? You. So be prepared, have money saved up, because you are going to spend so much more money than you're going to make, especially in your first 6 months. It takes about 3 to 6 months to get a paycheck. So you need someone to cover you. You need your parent. You better go home, live with your parents. If you're married, let your spouse know. You're going to need someone to basically pay the bills, because you're going to starve for those. It takes about 3 months for a deal to close. So when I say 3 to 6 months, that's assuming that as soon as you get licensed, you have a deal on the table. A lot of newbies, they do not have a deal on the table when they first start, unless you have family or friends. Again, I cannot get your name out there, prospect, let everybody know, scream it from the rooftops, I'm doing real estate. Because if you don't, the longer you take to get a deal and get it in escrow, that's the longer it's going to take for you to get a paycheck. And not all deals go through. If you don't have a headache by now, I'm here to give you one. Not all deals are going to go through. The seller, there's been times where, you know, the seller might say, hey, you know what, I don't want to sell, no deal. There might be times where the buyer, they just bought a new car and the bank is like, oh no, we're not going to loan you any money because now your debt to income ratio just changed. So now the deal falls through. You have done so much. You have taken people in your car to look at houses. You've done everything that you can do, and now it's all for nothing. There's no deal. Another thing about that car, you have to get special car insurance, which is a lot more expensive than regular insurance, to be able to transport people in your car, in your vehicle for work. Oh yes, the insurance company, they want their money because now your liability and everything like that is higher. So that part. And then when it's all said and done, people, guess who else wants their money? The IRS. You guessed it. You have to pay taxes every quarter. If you wait until the end of the year and try to pay taxes, there's fines and all of that other stuff. So with real estate, remember you're an independent contractor. So what that means is when you're doing a deal, the bank takes money from here, put it into an escrow account that's not yours. And you know, once you get your commission, it goes into your account. The IRS never touches it. Like a job, you know, the employer take your taxes out, and you know, or the state, city, whoever, they take their taxes out before you get your paycheck. With real estate, you get your paycheck and then you have to pay taxes on the money you made. So when you get this money, be very prepared to set some aside for your taxes. Do not be one of those people that's getting hounded by the IRS because they failed to pay their taxes on money made. Also, get ready to pay for your own gas. Get ready to pay for your business card. Any type of marketing, any type of advertising is coming from none other than you, boo. So anyway, I'm gonna leave this alone, but you need to have, I would say, at least $5,000 to $6,000 ready to go once you have your license. So if you're thinking about doing real estate, have a safety net, some way to pay the bills, and also have about $5,000 ready to go for all of the expenses, all of the materials, everything that you're going to need. Have that money saved up. Be prepared, because I was unprepared. So many people told me, oh, it's really expensive, it's really expensive. And I'm like, okay, it's fine, I can make it work, I'll work harder, you know. But guess what? How are you selling a house if you have to go to work? And then if you have to go to work, you're not doing real estate. So it's kind of tough. Like, what do you do? Do you borrow money? Do you have family? Some people, they come from real estate families, meaning their companies own firms. So their Aunt Mary is their broker in charge. Your real estate firm can make you or break you. And that is my third tip. Be careful with which company you choose to work for. Now, some companies, they treat their newbies like they don't exist. So they won't give you that time, that courage, that they won't push business to you. And once you become a real estate agent, a lot of older agents or more experienced agents, I will say that they don't mind you doing an open house for them, you know. And for you, you're trying to do it because that's another way to let people know, meet people that are buying and selling their house. Is that but also open houses do not sell homes. Like, it's very rare that someone sells a home in an open house or from an open house. So that's another thing that TV gets wrong. Like, you see these agents, they throw an open house, it's like a party. And no, when you do an open house, the purpose of that is just to mingle and get to know people. And how you're supposed to do that with COVID, I don't know. Like, I'm not practicing real estate right now, but I know that is tough. So if you are newly licensed and you've sent out business cards, things that you send in the mail most people are gonna throw away. I don't know, it's just really tough. And do not expect to throw an open house and to find somebody to buy that house. It's very, very slim, rare for someone to actually buy a house from coming into your open house. It's really just about connection, meeting people, building those contacts, because contacts is going to be a key thing when you get into real estate. Like, you want everybody to know you, and you want to know everybody, because you're only as good as your next deal. If you don't have a deal, you're not paying any bills. So if you're thinking about getting into real estate, they do care about your speeding tickets. Do you have speeding tickets? Do you have failure to stop at the stop sign? Like, little petty stuff they care about. You need a clean record. Now, a lot of courses in schools, they won't tell you this until the end of the class. So imagine that you've paid $400 for a class, and then the last day they say, okay, now we're doing background checks. Yes, the real estate commission cares about your criminal history. They will do a background check. So, and they care about everything. Like, if you have one too many traffic tickets or one too many, like, anything, you need to get that taken care of before you get your license. You need it to have time to, like, be old or get off or situated, because guess what? The real estate commission is going to ask you about it, and they're very finicky because you're working with the public, and their job is to make sure they protect the public. So if you're criminal, real estate might not be for you. If you're a light criminal, you just like the speed and you like to park and you might still have a chance there, but you will have to write a letter explaining or justifying something somewhere. I just want to give you guys a heads up, real talk. You will have to explain that. Another truth of real estate is that when a deal is being done, attitudes run high. So you have the buyer who wants the lowest price, you have a seller who wants the highest price, and you have another agent, because most people, there's so many rules about working as a dual agent, and you can really get into a lot of trouble. Like, a dual agent is where one agent represents the buyer and the seller. One person can sue you and say, oh, well, she wasn't being fair to me, and one person can be like, well, she wasn't being fair to me, or they both can sue you. So a lot of agents don't like to get into dual agency, but there are some veterans, you know, they've been doing this, they know these clients, they've raised their kids, they work with the mom, and they don't mind that. But you do have to be very careful. You can't disclose one to the other. So most times there's two agents working on the deal, and when you start negotiating, that other agent has potential to be, what's the word, in the hole. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say that, but you have to have control of your emotions, because you are representing your buyer or your seller, but that agent is representing their buyer or their seller, and they can be mean, they can be nasty, they can be, you know, but that's who that person wants to work with. So there's nothing that you can do, and you need to get through the deal. Also, when you're doing the deal, you have to work with their attorney. There's attorneys, if I can talk today, there's inspectors, there's so many people involved in buying a house, and you as the agent have to work with all them, and you have to double check their work. Like, so you have to be on it. You have to be on it, or else, you've guessed it, you can be sued. Also, a lot of people know this now, or maybe they don't. You do not get to keep your whole commission. So usually when people are buying or selling a house, commission between the two agents is 6%. So one person get 3, one person get 3. So I'll get 3% as the buyer agent, they'll get 3% as the seller's agent. When that happens, you're like, yippee. But remember earlier in this video when I told you you have to join a firm, guess what, boo? That firm gets a cut. And then you're like, okay, well, I got 3%. But now my firm gets a cut, and guess who else gets a cut? The taxes. And then, you know, whatever's left over, that's what you get. So a lot of people from watching these shows, $1 Million Listing and all of this, they think real estate agents are just balling out of control. And let me tell you, that is so not true. I remember I took my kids to the park on Labor Day weekend, and I had some open house signs like in my trunk, and someone saw those signs and they decided to like break into my car. And let me tell you, they got absolutely nothing. When I called the police, I'm like, hey, they busted out my car window and they robbed my car. The police was like, oh, what was of value? What did they take? And I'm like, oh, nothing. They took my hairball bag. I'm like, and the police really don't care. And I'm like, I think they did that because a lot of people are under this impression that real estate agents are just, boom, dollar bills, y'all. No, there are a lot of broke real estate agents or real estate agents that probably make the same amount that regular people make. It's not all that it is cracked up to be. I cannot stress that enough. One of the other struggles that I noticed when I was a real estate agent that I'm kind of hesitant to talk about, but I know it needs to be talked about, and that's why I left it as my last tip, guys. Real estate has a hierarchy. When you're an agent, most people that are buying and selling, they like to deal with men. First is your white man, then comes your black man. Then after that, they don't mind working with the white woman. So then the white woman's there. And at the bottom of the totem pole is the black woman. Most people prefer either a male agent or a white woman as an agent. A lot of people don't, unless they look like you, they do not want to work with a person of color. Once I figured this out, I didn't want to put my face on my business card, but my broker in charge was like, don't do that, put your face on there, because what you don't want to happen is for someone to either call you, and after they call you like, hey, you know, I was looking for such and such, I'm looking to buy a house, and then they figure out from your voice that you're of color and then no deal. Or when they see you in person, they show their dislike or disdain or waste your time completely because they really don't want to work with you. So race relations, a lot of people know that in real estate, you know, there was banks that were prohibiting black people with redlining, other laws like that, prohibiting them from buying and selling houses. And certain sectors of real estate and other brokers and charges and agents, I did tell my story a little bit in my Netflix video that I made. A lot of those people can be a little racist, and they don't realize that they're being racist, or maybe they do. I'm not gonna make excuses here, but I'm saying if you are a female of color, you need to have some thick skin. And I don't even say that lightly. It's tough. It's tough. I went home crying in tears because this lady, like, that was my first time experiencing racism. I had never experienced like in your face racism before I started doing real estate. It's tricky. It's tricky. Anyway, I feel uncomfortable. I say when I get uncomfortable, but I don't really, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, but I want to say women of color, you have your work cut out for you. If you are a man, a lot of people like working with men. A lot of people don't mind the white woman. Like, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's not for the soft-hearted. It's not for, you know, what's that saying, the faint of heart. It's not for that. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys there's a lot that goes into being a real estate agent. It's not all glitz and glamour, but a lot of people that have been in real estate for a while, now there is a rewarding part. So if you stick with real estate and you've been doing it for a long time, that's when you start to see results like you see on $1 Million Listing and those other fancy TV shows. Those are people that have dedicated 10, 15, 20 years. You don't start making that money until at least after like 6 years or more. A lot of people are not just balling. You're not helping celebrities. I live in North Carolina. The most known celebrity we had was like J. Cole and Jordan. And he doesn't even spend his time here. But again, it's not what it's cracked up to be, but it can be rewarding, and go for it. I don't want to discourage anyone. So if you feel like that's your calling and that's what you want to do it. But I'm telling you to have that resolve mentally. Be okay. Do whatever you have to do to set your finances in order. Like, just go for it, but go for it in a smart way. So that's it for this video, guys. I just wanted to share the real true facts about being a real estate agent, and I hope this helps anybody that's looking to get into real estate, and I hope you have a great day.